Hello, my name is Juan Mateo Frasil, and today I'll be presenting my PowerPoint project, The Passive Voice. I'm from the Group 10-3, and I'm from ESL class, Mr. Ones, and I am the specialized school by Rufo, located in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Now, let's get started. The subject. What is a subject? A subject is a part of a sentence that contains the person or thing performing the action or verb in a sentence. Examples. Jennifer walked to the store. The subject will be Jennifer. The second one, after lunch, I will call my mother. I will be the subject. You were a great singer. You will be the subject as well. And mosquito bites, itch. The subject will be the mosquito bites. Now here are more examples. The cat climbed the tree. The cat is the subject. Tony sat by the fire. Tony will also be the subject. My dog always growls at the postal carrier. The dog that always growls at the postal carrier will be the subject as well. The talented feminine ballerinas gracefully leaped across the stage. The talented feminine are as well the subjects. Now, let's get to the direct object. What is a direct object within a sentence? The direct object is a noun or pronoun that receives the action of the sentence. The direct object answers whom or what regarding the verb. Examples. I returned the books at the library. The books will be the direct object. The ocean calls Siobhan. Siobhan will be the direct object as well. The boy bought food. The food will be the direct object. Katie threw Lisa the baseball. The baseball will be the direct object. I eat breakfast. The breakfast will be the direct object as well. The SVO, the sentence plus verb plus object. The explanation. In unionism, SVO represents the basic word order or main clauses and subordinate clauses in present-day English, which means the subject, the verb, and the object. Examples. The woman built a strong stone wall. The woman will be the subject, built will be the verb, a strong wall will be the object. The children eat buns, cakes, and biscuits. The children are the subject. Eat will be the verb. Buns, cakes, and biscuits will be the object. The professor threw an orange. The professor is the object. Threw is the verb. And orange is the object. Subject pronouns and direct pronouns. Pronouns. The subject pronouns are I, you, he, it, we, you, and they. The object pronouns, me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Now, here are the subject pronouns and direct pronouns in the German language. But in this image, we see the indirect object pronouns that we were not going to be covering. The subject, now, the first person singular. The subject pronoun is ich, which means I. The direct object pronouns is mich and me. Now here goes the second person singular and formal. Do, you. Now the direct object pronoun, dich, you. Now the third person singular masculine. The subject pronoun form is her, he, it, and the direct object pronoun in, him, it. Now the third person singular feminine and the subject pronoun is sie, she, it. Now the direct object pronoun sie, her, it. Now, the third person singular in the neuter, the subject pronoun is, it. And the direct object pronoun is also as, it. Now, in the first person singular, the subject pronoun is we. Excuse me for the explanation. Now, the direct object pronoun is uns, us. The second person plural informal, the subject pronoun is which means you. And the direct object pronoun is ouch and you. The third person's plural, the subject pronoun is sie and they. The direct object pronoun is sie, which means them. The second person formal singular or plural in the subject pronoun is sie, which also means you, and the direct object pronoun is sie, which also means you again. Now, the transitive and intransitive verbs. First, let's get to the transitive verbs. What are transitive verbs? A transitive verb is a verb that requires an object to receive the action. The transitive examples of transitive verbs. The instructor addressed the student's question. Address will be the transitive verb. Miriam borrowed the methodology book from her classmates because she forgot her copy. Borrow will also be the transitive verb. Can you bring your copy of the textbook to our study group meeting? Bring will also be, again, the transitive verb. Donovan gave the gift to his sister. Gave will also be, yet again, the transitive verb. Now, let's get to intransitive verbs. What are intransitive verbs? An intransitive verb does not take an object. Using an object immediately after an intransitive verb will create an incorrect sentence. However, there may be other information after the verb, such as one or more prepositional phrases or an adverb. Now, here are examples of the intransitive verbs. The patient's health deteriorated quickly. Deteriorated quickly will be the intransitive verb. Aham voted in the local election. Voted will be the intransitive verb. May I sit here? Sit here will be the intransitive verb. Susan laughed. Laughed will also be the intransitive verb. Attendance increased at the weekly study sessions as finals drew near. Increased will be an intransitive verb. Now, let's get to the prepositional phrases. What are prepositional phrases? A prepositional phrase is a group of words consisting of a preposition, its object, and any words that modify the subject. Most of the time, a prepositional phrase modifies a verb or a noun. These two kinds of prepositional phrases are called adverbial phrases and adjectival phrases. Examples of prepositional phrases in the adjective form. The boy with him is his son. With him with the prepositional phrase. The bracelet in the storefront window is the one I want. In the storefront window with the prepositional phrase. We stayed at the cabin by the river. By the river will also be the prepositional phrase. The store at the corner sells sandwiches. At the corner will also be the prepositional phrase. You can use the broom behind you to sweep the floor. Behind you will also be the prepositional phrase. Now, let's see. Now, there are the sample of prepositional phrases in the adverb form. When you get to the sign, take the left. To the sign will be the prepositional phrase in the adverb form. We climb up the hill to see the view. Up the hill will be the prepositional phrase in the adverb form. It annoys me when people talk during movies. During movies will be the prepositional phrase in the adverb form as well. Hannah looked under the bed to see if she could find her necklace. Under the bed will be the prepositional phrase as well in the adverb form. I'll meet you after school. after school will also be the prepositional phrase in the adverb form. Now, let's get to the past participle. Now, what is the past participle? A past participle is a word that is formed from a verb. It is used as an adjective or verb tense, and it probably ends with ed, d, t, n, or in. Now, let's get to the examples. And otherwise, here's another definition for the past participle. Now, what is past participle? The past participle is a form of a verb typically ending in ed, like I said earlier in English, which is used in forming perfect and passive tenses and sometimes as an adjective. Now, let's get to the other examples. Now, if you want more information, let me try again to see if you understand. The past participle is often, but not always, formed by adding the suffix ed to a verb. It can also be paired with an auxiliary verb like was or were, has, and had to show that an action has been completed. For example, now let's get to it. He was finished with the project. Now, the cookies were baked fresh this morning. Were baked, is the past participle. She has burned dinner before. Has burned will be the past participle as well. I have lived an interesting life. Have lived will be the past participle. He has lied to me too many times. Has lied will be the past participle as well. Now let's get to the active voice and passive voice. Now, what is the active voice? The active voice is a grammar term used to classify sentences in which the object of the sentence is the one actively performing the action of the verb. Here's more explanation for the active voice. In grammar, voice is a way of classifying the relationship between the action of a sentence and the one or ones doing or not doing the action. Active voice is contrast with the passive voice, in which the subject of the sentence is the recipient of a verb's action. For example, the girl ate the apple. Ate will be the active voice. Now, here are some examples of the active voice. Harry ate 6 shrimps at the dinner. Ate will be the active voice. Beautiful giraffes roam the savannah. Roam will also be the inactive voice. I ran the obstacle course in record time. Ran will also be an active voice. The crew paved the entire stretch of highway. Pave will also be an active voice, like I said earlier. Mom read the novel in one day. Read will also be an active voice. Now, let's get to the passive voice. Now, what is the passive voice? The passive voice is a verb in the passive voice is when the subject of the sentence is acted on by the verb. For example, in the ball was thrown by the pitcher, the ball will be the subject, receives the action of the verb, and was thrown is in the passive voice. Examples of the passive voice. At dinner, 6 shrimps were eaten by Barry. Where eaten will be the passive voice. The savannah is roamed by beautiful giraffes. Is roam is the passive voice. The obstacle course was run by me in record time. Was run will also be the passive voice. The entire stretch of highway was paved by the crew. Was paved will also be the passive voice. The novel was read by my mom in one day. Was read will be the passive voice as well. Now, here's the formula of the passive voice in the simple past tense. Here is the formula. Now, live breaking news. News using the passive voice. Here are the images. Here's the first image. Cameron accused as troubled charity fails. Now, in the New York Times, in the Minneapolis, A photographer was shot in the eye. In Washington, D.C., protesters struck a journalist with his own microphone. In Louisville, a reporter was hit by a paper ball on live television by an officer who appeared to be aiming at her. In the old news, Churchill expects trouble from Nazis. Now here's another one. The Daily Telegram. World War is over. Here are more information. In the Daily News Record, Bautista Cup change. Here are more images, more words, and you will find the voice. Sorry. Here is one of the images. And now, here's the bibliography. Here's another slide. Here's the last one. And that'll be all. I hope you all like my presentation, and I hope you guys have a fun one as well. Have a good one.